Hello, my love, and welcome back to the Energy Expansion podcast. As always, I'm so excited for this conversation. I say that every week, and I say it because I genuinely mean it. I typically record our podcast episodes on Monday, and so I'm thinking about you. Yes, you listening right now. I am thinking about you all weekend. Like, what am I going to tell her? What's going to make a difference for her? What's happening in my world that she might be able to relate to? I started getting these ideas of things that I wanted to share with you. And so the vibe for today is really an energetic activation. There are a couple of different things that I've been thinking about, things that have felt really deeply meaningful for me. They've been making a difference for me. I'm really loving the way that they're having me tap into what's possible for myself, for my business, for my family, and for you, for the world at large. And so I'm going to share a couple of these things with you today. And my intention, I want you to do a little check in, like literally right now. I want you to notice where your head's at, where your heart's at, what's happening in your energy fields. When I have you do this check in right now, when I have you notice what's happening in your head and in your heart, I'm having you do this because my deepest desire, my intention with recording this episode with you and for you and creating this message is that by the end of this episode, you are going to feel an uptick in your level of excitement and inspiration and in how lit up you feel and about what you believe to be possible for yourself, for your people, for your community, and beyond that. And more than anything, as I was thinking about that, okay, we're gonna create this energetic shift. This episode is really truly, I've said it a couple times already, but an energetic activation. This is going to serve as a state change. This may be one of those episodes where if you're able to star it or put a little plus next to it or save it anyway to come back to it, you're probably going to want to do that with this episode. And when I was thinking about what does it take to create a state change and a true energetic activation, what came to mind was, oh, what we're really doing together is we are creating new neural pathways. If you're not familiar with this, a neural pathway is the way that we think about things. And there are certain neural pathways that our thought process is on repeat. And to be honest, a lot of those are probably not serving us. Ways that we look at ourselves, stories and beliefs that we have about ourselves, about the world, about the things that matter most to us. And so the neural pathways that our thought process has been on repeat are, I really love this analogy for a neural pathway, is the ski slope. And it's like the well-worn one that people keep going down. Like people see it and like, okay, cool, this is the one I'm going to choose. But that's not always the best one when it comes to how we're thinking. And so a new neural pathway is creating literally a new path forward. When you can create a new way of thinking, when you can create new, I promise I'll stop saying neural pathway. I love saying this. I think I've said it 100 times so far. When you can create new neural pathways, that's how you change your life. When you change the way you think, you change everything within and around you. And so that is really, truly my deepest desire, is to support you today in changing and transforming the way that you think about yourselves, your goals, your desires, and what's really, truly possible for you. And I think that my job as a coach, as a mentor, I resonate with both of those terms, is to, first and foremost, for me to think differently. I know a lot of people who listen, not all of them, but a lot of people who tune in are coaches, healers, thought leaders. You're a leader in your workplace. Your job is literally to think differently, to think above and beyond what is happening with the status quo. That is quite a large level of responsibility. And also, it's one that I'm here for, and I hope that you are too. Here's what I want to dive into. So there's really three key components. When I was looking at my notes from yesterday, there are three conversations that we're going to have together today. One of them is completely new. It's sort of just dropped in. When we talk about intuitive superpowers, one of my strongest is known as clear cognizance, which is clear knowing. And so what happens for me is I will be moving throughout my life and all of a sudden a thought will drop in. Like a thought that didn't previously live inside of my body, boom, there it is. And I love when that happens. It's so fun. And we're going to get to that is going to be number two. This first one, we've actually talked about before here on the podcast, but it was many, many months ago. I talked about it. I was passionate about it. It sort of drifted away and it's been put to the forefront of my attention recently. And it probably has to do with the fact that we are still very much at the beginning of the new year. And it's this concept of what does it take to create an uncommon life, uncommon results, something that is truly extraordinary. This is a concept that I was really introduced to in the health program that I was in, sort of the last half of last year, the gut reset. Michael, who was leading that, who I cannot speak highly enough. I'm so excited. I was just sharing with the women inside of Energy Expansion Academy that he has a free masterclass coming up. I'll link that below. He's going to be running all of his programs again, the same ones I went through, and I'm going to be signing up for all of them again. But the way that he talks about health is literally unlike anything I've ever heard of. And that's saying a lot because I'm someone who, for the most part, has taken my health pretty seriously for a long time. I've invested in different types of health programs, but there is an entirely elevated way that he talks about this, that he is teaching his students and people who are curious to learn from him to look at their health and to look at their body. And when you look at the type of results that people got in that program, they are nothing short of uncommon. And so this was introduced to me through the lens of health. But then I really started looking at this in different areas of life. The way that I care for my kids, the way that I show up in my marriage, the way that I treat my business and my finances. And I started to realize, oh, this is not something new. This is not something that I just started doing in the second half of 2025. I am somebody, and I'm sharing this with you because I have a feeling that you are this way too. Anyone listening, I've always been someone who has been a stand for extraordinary, and not from a place of greediness or gluttonous or not enoughness, but I talk about this so often because it's just woven into my DNA. This part of me that is hungry to taste all of the goodness of life. I really truly see life being such a gift, and I don't want to waste a single second of it, a single moment, a single miracle or blessing or opportunity, no matter how big or how small. And so this concept of extraordinary living is not new to me, and it's probably not new to you, but hearing about it from this place of what does it take to experience uncommon results? You can probably figure this out. It takes uncommon actions. It asks that we do things that most people are not doing. And I don't know about you, but that just speaks so deeply to me because I love the people I grew up around. I love the people in my life, and also the people who I feel most excited to learn from and the most expanded by are doing things that literally blow my mind, that I didn't even know were possible. This is where the concept of you being a possibility portal for other people in your life comes from, because you're not here to live the way that like the status quo is, the way that everyone else is doing things. And this is really an invitation for you to look at, okay, we're at the start of this brand new year called 2026. What do you want that to look like? And it's less actually about the uncommon results and more about who do you get to be, who do you get to become to create that. And I think that's really exciting. I think that's really empowering. And also sometimes that can be a little bit overwhelming, especially because if we're doing extraordinary, right? Above ordinary, we're doing uncommon, a lot of people in our lives might question us, might think that we're a little kooky, little crazy, be a little bit concerned about us, right? Because we are going above and beyond what most people are willing to do. And now it's so interesting because I think that there are a lot of people, I would venture to guess that most people, more than 50% of people on this planet actually desire an uncommon life. They desire uncommon health and wealth and a family life. They really desire whatever their definition of extraordinary would be, but they never go beyond desiring it. They're not actually willing to do what it would take. They're not willing to become that version of themselves. They're not willing to upgrade their identity, their frequency, and their belief systems. And that's where, my love, you and I are different. And so again, today I'm sharing these concepts with you, things that sort of attached to my energy field, my mind, and I can't stop thinking about them. And I actually don't want to stop thinking about them. Like, I can't stop thinking about them in the best possible way. And so the invitation here for you at the very beginning of the year is for you to start thinking about, what is it that you want to create? What is it that you're up to? Not just in this lifetime, but in this year. What are those extraordinary, uncommon results, desires, and outcomes? And then who do you get to be to create those? There's absolutely an important aspect around taking aligned action. But I really need you to know that extraordinary results and an uncommon life does not mean that you have to work yourself to the bone. It's not blood, sweat, and tears. It's about working smarter, not harder. It's about cutting out a lot of the distraction and making sure that there's a heightened level of discernment when you're deciding where to invest your time and your energy. And so the question here, before we go into point number 2, is, what uncommon or extraordinary results are you after? And who do you get to be to create that? Just play with that. Let yourself dream as big as you possibly can. Let yourself think outside of the box and make sure that you have communities and people around you who are going to support you in those visions and not try to talk you off of your ledge or think that you're crazy. Because really, if they think you're crazy, it is their own worldview and what they believe to be possible for themselves. It has nothing to do with you and everything to do with them. So having, in air quotations, the right people in your corner is going to make a massive difference in you creating what it is that you actually desire. So point number 1 was represencing this conversation around uncommon results and what it takes, who we get to become to create an extraordinary life. And just notice what comes up for you around that. And when you notice what comes up, there gets to be unconditional welcoming. Maybe you're like, yes, Dani, I love that. And I'm going to do this and tweak that and try this. Or maybe you're like, Dani, it's still January and I'm hibernating and I'm tired and I'll listen to this when the spring equinox comes. That's perfectly fine too. Okay, you guys, I'm so excited to share. So excited to share this next one with you because I have never had this conversation in this way, and the way that it came out was so beautiful. And so this is, again, going back to the very beginning, out of the 4 main, there's more than 4 intuitive superpowers. That's what I like to call them. But there's 4 main ones, the 4 most common ones, and everybody listening, we actually all have all of these, but typically for most people, there's going to be 1 or 2 of these that are heightened. And so we've got clairvoyance, which is clear seeing, and that can manifest in a lot of different ways. There's clairaudience, which is clear hearing. All right, love, real quick pause because I have to tell you about something that is truly life-changing. If you've been in my world for any amount of time, then there is a 99.9% chance that you have heard me talk about Energy Expansion Academy, which is my signature group coaching program where I teach the exact tools, rituals, mindset shifts that helped me create a life that goes beyond my wildest dreams and has transformed the lives of hundreds of women that I've had the honor of serving. And for the first time ever, it is now available as a self-paced experience. That means you get to move through this powerful transformation on your own terms, in your own timing, and in full alignment with your life. This is for the woman who's ready to shift her energy, elevate her mindset, and finally become the most confident, fulfilled, and successful version of herself. Without the hustle, without the overwhelm, and without the second guessing. If you've been feeling the nudge to join us inside of EEA, then this, my love, is your sign. You'll find the link in the show notes or just DM me EEA on Instagram and I'll personally send it your way. Now, let's get back to the episode that you came for. There's clear cognizance, which is clear knowing, and there's clear sentience, which is clear feeling. My top two are the last two. My strongest are clear knowing and clear feeling. I sometimes get, I'm going to say it, I get jealous. I get jealous of my people, my healers, my friends, even my clients who, yes, I get jealous of my clients sometimes, who are like, oh my gosh, I saw this vision and it was so vivid and I saw these colors and it was amazing. And I'm like, I want to see that too. But that's just not how my intuitive superpowers come through the strongest. I had a client who didn't even know what intuition was. And after a few sessions, she messaged me and was like, Dani, whenever I'm around people, I see colors around them. And so now everywhere she goes, she can actually see people's auras. It's the most insane thing. And I'm like, I didn't know that that was possible, but that's what's happening. And I'm really happy for you. And I want that too. So I actually had her keep her own directory. I told her, you could Google what does blue look like in someone's aura, but I actually don't want you to do that. I want you to have a notebook. I want you to notice how you feel in that person's presence. And when you see blue, what does blue mean for you? What does yellow mean for you? Because your own intuitive dictionary is more powerful than anything that Google or ChatGPT could ever tell you. And so if you see colors, if you see things, I want you to tell me because I'm going to live vicariously through you. But if you don't have the gift of clear cognizance, then you might get a little bit FOMO right now, my friend, because you're going to see how cool this is when my intuitive superpowers come on. So this is all about us honoring the way that we receive information. So I'm going to set it up for you. Last week, my husband was out of town for a majority of the week, which means it was just me and my 3 kiddos, which I absolutely love. And I feel very grateful. My husband is really helpful. It's not tit for tat around responsibilities, but for the most part, it's like 50-50-ish. He does a lot of the morning things with the kids, and then I do a lot of the evening things with the kids. And then everything in between, we do our best. I feel really good about how things are divided and split up and the level of support, like physical, energetic, emotional support on my parenting journey. And so that being said, because my husband is so very, very helpful, when he's not here, it's a lot of extra work for me. Like I've got my work cut out for me, and I'm also totally okay with that. If anyone sent me a message last week and it took me approximately 7 days to get back to you, that's why. Because it was really about, I got to make sure my kids are taken care of and I got to make sure that my needs are taken care of. I was in charge of all 3 drop-offs every morning, which is not normally the case. And there was this moment, I think it was last Wednesday, and I'm in the car. It's approximately 7:30 in the morning. I lie. It was approximately 7:15 in the morning because I'm done with drop-offs by like 7:40. So we're in the car really early. I'm setting this up because being in the car at 7:15 is not my favorite, especially when it's chilly outside. So I'm in the car with my kids. I've got my pretend coffee. I say pretend coffee because it's like mushroom, herb, reishi, all the different lion's mane things. And it's like my morning treat. It's my favorite thing. It tastes so good and it's warm and it's cozy. And so I'm sitting there in traffic earlier in the car than I want to be. I'm not here to complain. That's actually the complete opposite of what this is about. But I just like had this moment like, whoosh. The kids were in a good mood. We were jamming out to our favorite playlist. I'm at the stoplight, sipping my coffee. And this thought crossed my mind. Do you ever get a thought and it makes sense in your mind and you're like, if I say this out loud, will it still make sense? It came through as, what if your life wasn't your life and you were given your life as a gift? Let me say it another way. What if, Dani, you were plucked up out of a different life experience and God went boop and popped you right into your life? And my heart just about exploded. And I thought to myself, I would literally feel like I hit the jackpot. Like I won the lottery of all of the lotteries. My heart would be overflowing. That would probably have me not be able to stop crying because I would just feel so freaking grateful. I would wake up and I would literally just be dancing through my life. Like, I can't believe that this is my life. I love this life. I would go swimming in my swimming pool every day. We lived here for 3 years and I've been swimming 2 times. There are aspects of my life that I would be like, are you kidding me? We get this and we get that, and this is ours, and I have this. Oh my freaking gosh. This is the best. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Literally in this moment, I don't say this out loud to my kids, but I'm like, I feel so happy to be in the car by 7:15 every single morning. And to be able to turn my car on to warm it up from the app on my phone, like all of the littlest things that I'm going to tell you what's at the heart of this. I take so much for granted. I really do. I try to be somebody. I hope this conversation is landing. I really hope you're picking up what I'm putting down because it makes sense in my mind. But to try to say this in a way, because I've never articulated this before, I really try to be somebody who slows down, who's present, who has a massive amount of gratitude and reverence for life. And I think that I do, but not nearly at the level that I could. Not that I should. I'm not going to should all over myself. I'm not going to should all over you, but I could. There is like an entire, like 100 levels more at which I can play the gratitude game. And the waking up every day, I cannot believe this is my life. I am so freaking lucky. Is this making sense? Is this tracking? I'm going to turn it back to you. What if your current life was not actually your life? And then you got to wake up tomorrow and be in your life for the very first time. How would you feel? Would you love that? Like, think about that for a second. My deepest desire, we have thoughts here because we have hundreds and hundreds of listeners every week. And I really wish that every single person would wake up and be like, I don't have to win the lottery because this is better than the lottery. That's how good my life is. But I'm well aware that that's not how everybody feels. And that's not how I have felt my whole life. There have absolutely been seasons where if I just said what I told you right now, I'd be like, get me the hell out of here. Sign me up to trade places with someone else. Not every moment, not every season of life has felt like, oh my gosh, I hit the jackpot. This is the best thing ever. I'm very grateful that is this season of life. I really truly believe that every single one of us has aspects. Maybe your whole life doesn't feel like that, but every single one of us has aspects of our life where we're like, yeah, this is pretty damn good. That sentiment of like, there are 100%, every single person listening, I know this for a fact, there are things in your life right now that you once only dreamt of, that you once only prayed for. I really, truly believe that. Maybe it's not every aspect of your life, but there are things that if you're like me, which I think you are, you're probably taking for granted. And I'm not pointing my finger. I'm not judging you. I'm also not pointing my finger and judging myself. I think it's a very normal part of the human experience to be busy and to be on the go and to be doing the things and have the duties and the responsibilities, to forget to slow down sometimes. Hi, welcome to the human experience. But the invitation of this conversation is to really look at, one, if you feel similar to me, where you're like, oh my gosh, Dani, I never thought of that before. I would be so sad if I didn't have the life that I had. Or it would be such a fun thought to think that God, universe, spirit plucked me up and just popped me into this body in this exact moment. That would be the most epic thing ever. I'd be so stoked. And I would also be crying all day long, tears of joy and dancing around. I love that for us. I hope that realization is fun for you. And also, if you're not in a season where you would feel that way, that is 100% okay. That is 100% normal and natural. In that case, the invitation is for you to look at, what would it take so that I could feel like I won the lottery of all the souls choosing the bodies, choosing the soul contracts, choosing this particular life? What needs to change so that you can feel so freaking good? What gets to shift so that you could say, given the opportunity, I would never want to trade places with anyone else? I thought that was so interesting. And again, this thought popped in less than a week ago. So a lot of times when I share things with you here on the podcast, there are things that have been floating around in my mind and my heart for years. There are things that I've articulated inside of my coaching communities, with conversations with friends, things that I've been learning, things I've been mastering. And this exact thought just came through a few days ago, and I have been really playing with it and loving it. And there's even a part of me that feels like I really need to dig into this even more because I haven't been dancing around my house all day, every day. I haven't gone swimming in my pool one time since this thought came through. And I don't plan on getting my buns in that freezing pool because it's not a heated pool, but you're catching my drift here. And so, what if your life was not yours and it was given to you right now? What would that look like? What would that feel like? Would you be absolutely stoked with excitement out of your mind? Or are you like, there are definitely some things that I would want to change? Because the invitation is, my love, to make those changes now. And that leads us into point number 3 for today's energy activation. And I hope that's exactly what you're feeling. It is so simple. It is something that you actually know this already. I know you know this intellectually. Now, whether you believe that in your body or not is a completely different story. And it is the fact that everything can change. Your life can look completely different 1 year from now. January of this year, your life, every aspect of it, internally, externally, can look completely different. And beyond that, you actually don't have to wait a year. I want to say that your life can look completely different even 30 days from now with a level of focus, care, effort, attention, discernment, really looking at what are the most valuable places, aspects of my life to invest my time and my energy. What is going to move the needle forward? What is going to get me closer to where I want to be? And then going all in on those things. You can be in a completely different place, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, energetically, financially, inside of your marriage, inside of the way that you do things as a mom, in your social life. So much can happen so quickly. So quickly. And it really comes back to, this is like the beautiful segue from point number 2 as we were closing out that conversation, just doing kind of like a life audit and looking at what's working, what's not working, to reminding you that the pen really is in your hand. I feel like one of the reminders that I need the most, that feel the best for me, is the reminder that I am such a powerful creator. And I'm saying that because I need you to know you are such a powerful creator. And with my spiritual lens, I often like to use the term co-creator. I don't think for even a split second that I am doing any of this on my own. I also don't think that you're doing this on your own. Now, what you think about that is totally up to you to choose what you believe and what lens you want to look through. But I really truly believe things that I say often, I don't know if I've ever said them here on the podcast, is that I believe that if there is a vision and a desire that has been placed in your heart, it's because it's meant for you. Deepak Chopra is famous for saying that within every desire is the mechanics for its fulfillment, aka you have everything you need right now to create whatever it is that you want. Now, we're not in charge of timelines. At the end of episode 68, when we were talking about the 3 different New Year's portals, I was talking about how in 2024, I chose the word Kairos for the year. And Kairos is God's timeline, divine timing, trusting in timing outside of our 365 days. If something that I put on my vision board for the year doesn't happen that year, I'm not like, oh my gosh, it's not meant for me. I'm like, okay, cool. We're just going to keep putting it on the vision board till it happens, because I believe the vision was put on my heart and then I put it on my pretty board in my office because it's meant for me. And I'm going to keep putting it on my board. Guys, Greece was on my board 5 years in a row. 5 years in a row. And I didn't think, oh, it's not going to happen. It was like, let's try again. And then let's try again. And then let's hold the vision. And so that's really the invitation here, is for you to come back to this reminder, this divine truth that you are powerful beyond measure. You have everything you could ever possibly need right now at your fingertips, inside of your body, inside of your mind, to create an extraordinary life. A life that has you feel like you have won the freaking jackpot. And if you don't currently feel that way, then it's an invitation for you to just have a conversation with yourself of what is that going to look like? And I want you to know that you don't have to have that conversation alone. There are women in my world, those of you who are inside of Energy Expansion Academy, and we get to have that conversation as a collective community, and we get to see that for one another. And so if you're in a space where you're like, I want to do this, but I don't want to do it on my own, this is an invitation to reach out, to find community, to find mentorship. One of the things that inspired this is the fact that there are so many women in my world just in the last few weeks. I love voice notes. I communicate one-to-one via voice note. If you're a friend, if you're a client, if you're a business partner, if you're a stranger and we just met today and we exchange phone numbers, I'm going to be sending you a voice note. You would think that my thumbs are broken, that I don't have thumbs because I don't actually really type. But just in the last few weeks, I've gotten so many voice notes from people in my world, current clients, one-on-one clients, women inside of Energy Expansion Academy, people who have graduated from our past programs. One program that's standing out right now is the program Momentum, who've shared with me, oh my goodness, Dani, I sat down and I was really reflecting on this last year, and so much has changed. And I didn't realize it until I sat down to give myself the time and space to reflect on it. And this is one of those things that I like to call a holy shift moment. This is my favorite thing. My definition of a holy shift moment is it's those moments where you look back and you realize there was life before that moment and there was life after that moment. That is how powerful this is. And every single holy shift moment begins with a decision to do something different, a decision to be someone different, a decision that you're tired of something and so you're not going to tolerate it anymore, a decision that you're meant for more, you're made for more, you deserve more. A decision to stop settling, a decision to speak up, whatever that decision is for you, a decision for you to go all in on your business or on a dream or on your marriage, right? I feel like there were moments throughout my marriage where, especially early on, I did not know, I had no model. I had no model for a healthy marriage. And I feel like there was this part of me subconsciously that was like one toe in and one toe out. Like, well, it'd be really nice if this worked out, but if it didn't, then what would that look like, right? I think a lot of that comes from growing up with a really hardworking single mom who I knew she could do it. I could do it, right? And there was a moment where I was like, oh, it was several years into my marriage, but I was like, I don't think there's been a single second when I actually believed in this. I don't think there's been a single second when I was actually all in on this. So we're 5 years into this thing. Why don't I be all in on it? And my marriage is not rainbows and butterflies. I don't know of anyone's marriage who is. If you do, please let me know because maybe I would like to learn from them. But what we've created together collectively because of our decision to go all in on ourselves together and our family is it goes beyond anything that I ever knew was possible. But I wouldn't have been able to access this level of goodness if I hadn't said, you know what? I deserve to know what it feels like to go all in on this area of life that matters so much to me, that means so much to me. And so again, this point number 3 is so much can change so quickly, and you are powerful beyond measure. You play a massive role in every transformation, in every decision, and in every holy shift. And so right now, as we're getting ready to close out the first month of 2026, we're still very much in winter time. You might not even feel like the new year is here yet, and I love that for you. These are a couple of things that I would really love for you to consider. So I'm really excited to hear how this conversation, these different activation talking points landed for you. And I also want to share with you, again, I touched on it, but I want to speak to it more directly. So many of the women in my world are given the opportunity to be a part of conversations like this on a weekly basis. And so I have testimonials and voice notes from women inside of Energy Expansion Academy who said, I don't recognize myself in the best possible way. When I look back at who I was a year ago, it's insane to think about how much has changed, how much has shifted. And so right now we have Energy Expansion Academy as a program that you can join us, a 4-month live group coaching program. So many opportunities for connection and support. As you probably already heard, we have a fun little jingle and a quick ad for Energy Expansion Academy, the self-paced experience. You get lifetime access to all of our teachings. And then Momentum. Momentum, the 4-week experience, is a self-paced program that you can access for less than $100. We've had hundreds of women go through Momentum over the years, and it has shifted so much for them. If I'm being completely honest with you, when I was taking notes and prepping for this conversation yesterday, I was inviting myself into every single part of what we've been talking about today. A lot of this conversation of who is life asking me to be? And as I step into that new identity, how does that version of me show up? And do you know what I went back to? I took myself through the momentum formula of what momentum will look like for me in this season. And I mapped that out for myself. And so if you are interested in having extra support, there are so many ways that you can do that inside of the DKC, which is Dani Kenney Coaching, inside of the DKC world. So feel free to reach out to me on the social media platforms. Let me know what it is that you're craving, and I'm so happy to point you in the right direction. And with that said, this feels like the perfect place to wrap up. I hope that you can do a little check-in now and notice all of the ways that your energy has shifted. What is new? What is different? How are you maybe thinking about things in ways that you haven't done so before? And let me know. Reach out to me on whatever social media platform is your favorite. I love to hear from you. And if you love this and you know someone who would benefit from a message like this, feel inspired, excited, this would make a difference for them, I want to invite you to share this. I love you so much, and we'll see you next time.